Hello, and welcome to another conversation with the people behind the technologies shaping how industry runs. Today's guest has a hands-on perspective on the wireless technology that sits at the center of facility operations. Megan Wiens is a platform manager on the cross-portfolio technology and innovation team at Emerson. Megan oversees Emerson's Bluetooth portfolio, bringing the voice of the customer across a wide range of industries back to product teams to help turn emerging technology into practical impact in operations. Megan, welcome. It's great to have you here.
Yeah, great to be here. Thank you, David.
So we have a little tradition of kicking these discussions off with just a totally off the wall question before we get started, just to kind of loosen things up and get to know you a little bit. Are you game?
Yeah, sounds great.
What's one minor superpower? Like, for example, I don't know, always finding the shortest checkout line, right? What's one minor superpower that you wish you had?
Oh, that's such an interesting one. I feel like a helpful one could be always remembering where you put something that you've lost. There's like built-in AirTag capability when you lose your keys or your phone or something like that. Because that always happens when you're like in a rush trying to get out the door, right? That feels like that would be a useful one.
I love it. Like the AirTag for your life, the constant AirTag for your life. What I'd love to explore with you today is how technology is really showing up in day-to-day industrial operations. But before we kind of jump into the solutions, let's start with the reality on the ground. From your perspective, where do you see the biggest gaps today in how industrial operations run, and where do you see the greatest opportunity to make some meaningful improvements?
Sure, yeah. So, as David mentioned, I work with a company called Emerson, who's in the industrial automation space. It's a very large company, so specifically within this organization, I work in our measurement instrumentation division. So we develop sensors that measure pressure, temperature, level flow, analytical, kind of the eyes and ears of any processing facility. So what we see today still and have seen for a long time is a lot of the processes that our end customers need to do to commission, service, update all of the sensors that we manufacture tends to be very manual processes. So these are devices that are being physically wired back to a control system. Oftentimes, if they need to be serviced in the field, someone is physically going out into the facility. Sometimes this can be, these facilities are large, they can be dangerous sometimes. So sometimes devices are, located in hazardous areas, what's considered hazardous areas within our industry. And you're also going out, rain or shine. If a device needs service and it's 20 below or it's 100 degrees outside, the job has to get done. So lots of different manual steps required in that. Also, devices can be mounted in funny areas. They could be 30 feet up on a tank or behind a bunch of piping. So being able to get to these devices and ultimately be able to pull the data from these devices that our end users need to be able to do their jobs effectively is really important. And Bluetooth is one of the really important technologies that can help make all of those processes much easier, faster, and safer.
I'm hoping you can help kind of understand the scale of this, right? Because it'd be one thing if it was one person and one device and then manual intervention or interaction that's required. But that's not the case. Can you kind of paint the picture for how, this inefficiency, compounds with scale?
Yes, for sure. So we have customers that work in what's, small facilities, tens of these devices, to very, very large facilities that have hundreds, if not thousands of these devices. And they're responsible for maintaining, replacing, implementing new sensors over the course of the facility's lifetime. So as you can imagine, maybe less painful of a process when you only have tens of devices. It gets increasingly more difficult as you have hundreds or thousands of them that you're trying to service, keep up to date, make sure these devices are healthy. And that becomes a challenge and very labor intensive very quickly.
And from what you hear from your customers, how critical is time savings in all of this?
Yes, extremely so. Any way that we can, improve efficiency is time that, then our customers can spend on other higher quality tasks that are going to continue to add to their facility's output and productivity. So we're always looking for ways to help our customers do things faster, and that's always a huge value that they're looking to extract as well.
Like you've already mentioned, Bluetooth, wireless technologies, they're making a difference here, right? So where are you seeing the biggest impact being made when facilities introduce, wireless technology solutions?
Yeah, so I'll kind of talk about two of the main workflows that we hear about when we talk with customers. The first one is commissioning a device, and then the second one is maintaining that device while it's, installed and during its device life cycle. So with commissioning, these devices, out of the box, there is some configuration that customers have to do to make sure that they're suited for the exact application that they're intended for within their plant or facility. Historically or traditionally, what that's looked like is you have to unscrew a cover to get to some internal terminals. You're physically connecting to this device and talking to some specialized program that's allowing you to set the parameters for the device. Now, with Bluetooth technology, we don't have to open it up. We don't have to have necessarily a special tool. We do still have some special tools that support the Bluetooth app that we have. But in a lot of cases, especially just if you're on a benchtop, you can pull out your phone, download Emerson's Bluetooth app, and talk directly to that device. So not only does it speed it up because you don't have special tools or have to open the device up, but the actual Bluetooth communication is a lot faster than the traditional communication method that has been used for a lot of our customers as well. So tons of different areas where there's speed benefits there. And then similar story on the maintenance side. So if you think about, we have tens, hundreds, thousands of these devices potentially installed within a facility. How do you keep track of which devices are healthy, which need attention, which areas of the process might need attention? So previously, that might look like someone taking their clipboard out and walking around to the facility and physically checking each of these devices. Now, with Bluetooth technology, a customer might be able to bring out their, ruggedized tablet or even a phone in some areas, see all the devices that are within range, make sure they're good, see which ones need attention, and spend more of their time focusing only on the devices that actually need attention versus the ones that don't. And then, of course, because Bluetooth is a wireless technology, the ones that do need attention, you don't have to physically climb up to it or behind things to get to it, open up the cover and potentially expose the instrument to weather or dust or other contaminants. So from a personnel perspective, you're saving yourself a lot of time and hassle, but you're still able to get the job done much more quickly and potentially safely with Bluetooth technology from a maintenance perspective now.
And I'm glad you went there around maintenance, because there is this shift where, we're gradually moving maintenance from reactive to proactive. So you talked a little bit about how Bluetooth is playing a role in that shift, but I'd love to hear from your perspective and from your customers' perspective, what is the felt impact, the measurable impact of that for these facilities when they can use predictive insight like that to help with turn maintenance into a proactive event?
Yeah, for sure. So like we've already talked about, a lot of it is going to be those time savings. So being able to identify which devices actually need attention or input allows you to prioritize your tasks for the day much better and allows you to spend time on other, maybe higher priority tasks instead of, servicing devices that are fine, but you don't have necessarily an easy way or quick way to access that information. One example from a specific customer is they're an OEM, so they get these devices ready to ship off to the end customer for these devices. And they've estimated that using Bluetooth technology versus more traditional HART-based tools, which is the standard protocol on a lot of our devices, They estimated that they've saved about 50% in time savings by switching to Bluetooth wireless technology. So it's having a real impact for our users, which is really exciting to see.
One of the ways Bluetooth is being used today is to provide visibility into the location and condition of assets or materials across processing facilities. So I'm curious, do you have an example or a story that you can share where, improved asset visibility made, a difference for one of your customers?
Sure. So the I guess task flow that kind of comes to mind immediately for me is it's not uncommon for users to perform walkdowns in their facilities, which is essentially to, like it sounds, walk around, make sure all of the devices are operating as expected, potentially check the status of these devices, make sure, if anything needs attention or needs to be worked on, that this gets prioritized and addressed. And this has been a very manual process. It's oftentimes literally someone walking around with a clipboard or a checklist, going up to each and every device. So time consuming, again, you're out in the facility. If we're talking from a safety perspective, potentially spending time in these hazardous areas, out in the elements, overall, a fairly time consuming and labor intensive task. So with Bluetooth technology, you now have the freedom, if you will, to not have to physically be at each and every one of these devices that you're looking at. So you can pull out your handy dandy, ruggedized tablet or app, and from that app, see all of the devices that are within the area. You get immediate status feedback on those devices. So you're still, out in the facility in the sense that you need to be within range to receive communication from these devices, but you don't have to be immediately physically at each and every device, and you're able to see information from multiple devices all on the same screen. So we're helping customers, speed up that workflow quite a bit and help them spend less time in those hazardous locations. And then from a reliability perspective, you don't have to necessarily open up each and every one of the devices to pull the information that you need to get from them. So multiple benefits. Again, time's perhaps the largest one there, but there's certainly reliability and safety impacts there as well.
I'm curious too, do customers ever point to things like, higher throughput, fewer errors, reduced waste, wasted movement and things like that? Are they seeing tangible operational benefits like that as well?
Yeah, so what comes to mind to me, thank you for bringing this up because we haven't really talked about this yet. What came to mind for me immediately when you said that is the reliability aspect again. So, customers have tens, hundreds, thousands of these devices in their facilities. In more traditional workflows, someone's going up to these devices. They have to physically open the cover to reach the terminals where they would then physically connect leads to. These covers require metal to metal seal to seal properly, which can be hard to get on sometimes. And a lot of times these devices are located, out in the environment. So they're exposed to rain, sleet, snow, dust, wind, all of the above. So if you don't get that good seal reestablished, water, dust, etc., can get into the device and it can actually cause a lot of damage and cause on-scale failures. So with Bluetooth technology, you eliminate the need to have to open up the device and potentially expose it to weather conditions, environmental contaminants, things like that. But you're still able to collect all of the data that you need to be able to do your work. So we're able to extend the lifetime of these installed sensors by minimizing the potential, environmental risks that they're exposed to. Which helps from a work standpoint, from personnel being able to do their jobs more quickly, but also the facility bottom line with extending the life cycle of these devices that they've installed.
And you mentioned so the efficiencies are one benefit, but I'd love for you to talk about the safety piece, right? For the workers and the personnel in these maybe hazardous or hard to reach spaces.
Yeah, absolutely. So safety is critical in the industrial automation space. It underlines all of the decisions that we make with our customers and is always forefront of our customers' minds too. A lot of the facilities or our end users are changing essentially one type of material into another type of material, and there's a lot of steps and at times dangerous equipment that is required to make that material transformation. And our customers, the folks who work in those facilities, are responsible for maintaining that equipment, maintaining productivity, maintaining efficiency in those areas. So any way that we can provide tools for them to do their job better and obviously more safely is going to be really important. We're all invested in getting everyone home safely at the end of the day. So as I mentioned, in these facilities, we have a lot of different types of equipment that people have to service. In a more traditional technology setting, you're going out to each of these devices individually, whether it's located feet in the air on a tank or behind a really hot process unit or out in the open. If you're up in Canada and it's wintertime and 20 below, it's not super pleasant to be outside trying to service these devices for a long period of time. And then you mentioned hazardous areas too. So there are different areas of facilities that might have different hazard ratings. And the goal for our users is to keep their personnel out of these areas as much as they can to keep their people safe. So by using Bluetooth technology on our instruments, we allow customers to locally but remotely connect to these devices without having to be physically at them, so they can still access the data that they need from a safer location, whether that be on the ground if you're talking to a device that's feet in the air, in your nice warm truck when it's wintertime and it's really cold outside, or even in the Texas heat when it's really hot in the summer, you can stay in a comfortable air-conditioned location as well. And then because you're able to get that information more quickly from the device, even if you do have to go into a hazardous location to be within distance to communicate with it, you can be in and out of that area a lot more quickly. So there's kind of a mixed benefit of, from a personnel safety, occupational safety aspect to just, personnel comfort as well, which when we're comfortable and feeling safe, we're able to think more clearly and do our jobs better as well.
I'm wondering if you could help us understand. Look, industrial productivity is kind of the engine of the world, right? And when that engine runs more smoothly, more efficiently, more safely, all those things, there's a ripple effect that extends far beyond just kind of the walls of a facility or a factory. So I was wondering if you could kind of share from your perspective when things like downtime are prevented, when places become safer, when you have better visibility into the assets you have in your facilities or across production networks. What are the broader benefits that emerge, not just for those facilities, but for people in the planet?
Yeah, absolutely. So Emerson may not be a household name necessarily, but a lot of our customers are brands, products, etc., that you're used to using every day, from your nacho cheese to your medication to the plastic that makes so much of what we use every day to the gas that makes your car run to get you to work. So our instrumentation that we provide is really the eyes and ears of the facilities that makes those products possible. So anytime we can help those customers who are making these products that we all use every day run much more efficiently, more reliably, higher productivity, more sustainably because they're operating more efficiently, helps all of us, right? They're interested in how do we maximize what we're able to output for their end users while also using, responsibly using our resources and keeping our people as safe as possible. So solutions like Bluetooth technology that allow this critical work to be done, but allow it to be done more safely, quickly, is ultimately really important.
And let me just say, from a nacho cheese enthusiast, thank you for helping those facilities do what they do. Now, reliability and security still come up frequently in conversations about wireless technology. What's maybe the biggest misconception you continue to hear about Bluetooth in industrial environments?
Yes, we get a lot of questions around security still. Understandably, cybersecurity is extremely important and becoming increasingly so as we continue to have a more and more connected world. As you are aware, there's different types of Bluetooth technology. Bluetooth technology is something that we've become really familiar with in our day-to-day life, from the headphones that we use to our cell phones to talking to printers, or there's so many different areas of our consumer lifestyle where we use Bluetooth. And now it has transitioned into a technology that's also being used in the industrial automation space, which is a little bit different use case. And because of that, we are using a little bit different type of technology, Bluetooth technology, than you use on your consumer Bluetooth devices, that adds that extra layer of security, because that is, a large concern for us as Emerson and for our customers as well. So security is something that we take very seriously, our customers take very seriously. And then there are some additional I'll say pieces of security that we as a manufacturer have built on top of Bluetooth technology as well to meet the security requirements in our industry, in our field. So that's something we're always thrilled when we get questions from those users, because it's encouraging to hear that our customers are considering cybersecurity and wanting to understand how it relates to their work and how to help secure their facilities that make so much of our daily life possible. So those are conversations we love having, but I think a misconception, or at least an opportunity for education that still exists out there, is how seriously that's being taken in this space.
I like how you just turned that into an opportunity.
It's always an opportunity. I mean, it helps us too when we can hear directly from our customers around what their concerns are, so we can help address them and work with organizations like the Bluetooth organization to make sure that we all have a vested interest in maintaining the security of this technology.
If you could just speak directly to the global Bluetooth developer community that you are a part of, what would you want them to maybe understand about the impact that their work is having on industrial operations, the people running them, and the broader world?
Yeah, great question. So I think the most fun part of my job is getting to hear directly from our customers who use the technologies and understand how they're using it. And especially when we get to hear stories of the real impact that this technology is having on their jobs and what they're doing day to day. So I would continue to share that the work that we're doing, and as I assume other organizations that are involved are making a real impact on the people who use this technology. And I encourage us to continue to find new ways to continue to make improvements and incorporating it into the jobs that we need to do.
Megan, thanks so much for joining us today. Thank you for sharing your lens on how technologies like Bluetooth and Bluetooth SIG member companies like Emerson are shaping and reshaping industrial operations. The way that you're helping industrial teams gain better insight, be safer, and not just for efficiency and productivity, but for the people and the communities that those operations support. So we really appreciate your time.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's always exciting to see how new technologies get integrated, and Bluetooth's been a really valuable addition to our portfolio, and really exciting to see how customers are adopting it as well. So thanks for having me.